everyone, and welcome back to another Horse Club video. We're joined today by Katie Hill, who is a 4-H Foundation Regional Agent, and she has some history with the 4-H program. Hi Katie, welcome.
Hey, it's so nice to meet with y'all today. This is my friend Sandman.
Well, Katie, what history do you have in 4-H and in 4-H horses, to be specific?
So I grew up in Elmore County and was very involved with our horse club for many years. I did all the riding classes. Me and my horse did English pleasure, Western pleasure, showmanship, jumping, and then I did all the educational events. I did passive educational, so I did photography, briar horsing, painting, creative arts, and then I also did the active classes, which were hippology, quiz bowl, and horse judging.
Well, you're the perfect person then to join us today, because we're going to talk about all the different educational events that our 4-H members can get involved in. So thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
All right, well, we might start with our passive educational events. Can you tell us a little bit more about what each one of those is?
So we have several different classes that you can enter that shows all kind of different talents that you can do. We have 4 photography classes. We have a colored photography, a black and white photography, and then we also have an altered photography. So if you want to show off your editing skills and kind of change up the photo and some cool things, that's what altered is. And then we also have a photo story, which is, you know, anything that you want to show with your horse, whether it's tacking your horse, bathing your horse, things like that, and you just show that story through photographs of what you're doing. We also have painting, which you can do pencil, acrylic, oil painting, anything you want to do with that. We also have a model horse scene, and you can show, you know, you're at a horse show or a trail ride, and you can use briar horses, anything you want to use to show that scene. We have consumer choice, which is a poster where you compare 2 products, whether it's feed or fly spray or anything like that. And then we also have creative story, where you write a couple of pages, and it could be something about your life or something you make up, whatever you want to do. But we have those classes, and if y'all have any questions about those, we do have a rules packet online at aces.edu, and then if you look up Horse Project, it's under there.
Wonderful. All right, Katie, so let's move on into some of the active educational contests. So let's start out with our speech contest. Tell everybody a little bit more about that and how they can get ready for it.
So this is an informative speech that you're going to give to your judges. It can be about anything. You can talk about something that happened to you at a trail ride or at a horse show, or just a fun memory that you have, but anything that you think would be fun for the judges to hear. And you want to make sure that you're dressed professionally in a nice shirt, dress pants, maybe even a blazer. You want to make sure that you're not wearing your horse show attire. And also you want to make sure that you don't have notes. Try really hard not to do notes. That looks a little bit more professional if you're looking at your judges and you have your hands in front of you and doing your speeches, or even putting your hands behind you. So that way you're not fidgeting and things like that. And you also want to make sure that you don't use or pause or anything like that during your speeches.
Great. So what's the difference between the speech competition and then the presentation?
So presentation, you're actually going to be showing your judges how to do something, whether it's wrap a leg, saddle a horse, just things like that, anything that you want to show the judges how to do. And with that, you can get a little bit more fun with it. You can dress up, wear a long sleeve Western shirt, jeans. It's a little bit more relaxed. You can also use a poster with some pictures just to show what you're doing to add to your presentation. And you can also do that individually, or you can do that with a team member as well if you need help.
Yes, and this year, in the past few years, we've moved to doing some PowerPoint presentations too. So kids are welcome to take photos and put together PowerPoint presentations for that contest as well. Does that sound like fun to you? Would you have tried that as a kid?
Yes, that's like one of the things that I didn't do that I wish I had, because I've seen so many great presentations where they have lots of fun with it, so it looks a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, Katie, so we've talked about presentations, and you have a new friend who is enjoying playing with you now. Let's talk a little bit about Quiz Bowl. What is that? How hard is it? What puts together a Quiz Bowl team? All that kind of stuff.
So Quiz Bowl, you have to have 4 members for your team. You can do it with 3, but it is a little bit harder, so I would recommend to have 4. And think of it as like a game show. You're going to have buzzards, and you compete against a different team answering various questions. It's kind of like hippology, which I'll talk about a little bit later. They can ask you veterinarian question, breed questions, colors. It's definitely a lot harder competition, so you want to make sure that you study before and study and practice buzzing on your buzzards, because that does take some reaction skills. You want to make sure that you're really fast. But like I said, just think of it as like a game show. We have some rounds where your team is asked certain questions and anyone can answer, or you go up against another team member from the opposite team where it's just y'all two and y'all go against each other to answer questions. And then there's also free-for-all rounds where anyone can answer, to where you can get some bonus points for your team. But that is Quiz Bowl.
Excellent. And you said it's a 3-person or a 4-person team, right?
Yes, but I would recommend 4. It kind of makes it a little bit harder to figure out what to do with our empty chair when that happens. So I would definitely recommend having 4 members.
And do you recommend practicing with buzzers beforehand so that everybody gets used to it? How do you recommend like preparing themselves?
So I definitely would practice with buzzers, because when you're up in front of a judge, I know we can all be a little shy. So I would practice that and just make sure that you're getting that reaction time down and making sure that's a lot faster. And I would also look at different old Quiz Bowl tests, and then also on our ACES website we have recommended materials to study, which I would use those, maybe even looking at an AQHA handbook. There's also a Pony Club handbook, and then looking at our regional horse show website, they have a list of different materials that they use for their contests. I would recommend studying from those books as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Well, Katie, we're just seeing all the pretty horses today and talking about our active educational events. Next one I think we should talk about is horse judging. Did you participate in that?
Yes, horse judging was one of my favorite things. So with horse judging at state, you're going to judge 4 classes. You'll have 2 halter classes and 2 riding classes. And usually we just pick horses that are already on the ground, so you never know what class you're going to get, depending on what our schedule is like. Usually our 2 halter classes are a stock type class and then a hunter and hand class. And then usually our riding classes are Western Pleasure and hunter under saddle. But at regionals, it can be all kinds of things. We've done gaited horses, Morgans, we've judged hunter hack, reining. So you really want to make sure that you're well versed in all the classes and know how the scoring system works, what the judge is looking for, and know your breed characteristics. But after you judge, you're going to give your placings for that class. You'll turn in your scores for that, and then also you're going to have to give your reasons to a judge. So you want to explain to that judge why you placed the class you did, and almost kind of argue for your class, because you can get some extra points even if you are wrong. But if you give some good reasons, that can help you out there. But same thing, you want to make sure that you're dressed professionally, that you try not to use your notes, and that you stand with your hands in front of you or behind you. And also you want to make sure that you talk loud so the judge can hear you. So after you place your classes, you're going to present your reasons to a judge. You want to make sure that you're arguing for your class and telling that judge why you placed the class the way you did. And you want to use a certain format where you talk about your top horse, and then you're going to talk about your middle pair, which is your second and your third, and then your bottom pair, which is your third and fourth horse that you placed for that class. And even if you get your placings wrong, you can get some extra points if you give that judge a good reason for why you placed that class. Because we all have different opinions, and so, you know, we all can place things differently. But when you're presenting your reasons to the judge, you want to make sure that you have your hands in front of you or behind you, and that you're talking very loud so the judge can hear you. And you want to make sure that you don't use your notes before. So they give you plenty of time to study and figure out what you're going to say before you give those reasons to the judge. But for judging, you're going to have placings for how you placed the class and how you gave those reasons, and then an overall placing for the judging competition.
So in judging, we also split juniors and seniors, correct?
Yes, that is correct. So you definitely won't have to go up against the older kids.
So Katie, is horse judging a team event, or can it be done individually?
You can do it individually, where you're scored individually on your placings and your reasons, and you can place individual overall, but you can also do it as a team as well, where same thing, all of your scores combine into your how you placed your classes overall as a team, how you did your reasons overall, and overall team. And then with our competition, we take the 3 highest scores and drop that 4th score. So like I said, I would recommend having 4 team members just in case someone's having a bad day or something like that, then you can drop that last score.
All right, Katie, so we are to our last active ed contest to talk about, and that is one of our most complicated, and that's our hopology contest. Can you kind of walk us through what's expected in that contest and how our 4-H members can get ready for it?
So hopology was my favorite growing up. I competed in it for many years, so I always tell everyone to compete in hopology. But hopology has 4 phases where you are tested on all sorts of equine terminology, disciplines, breeds. It makes you very well-rounded in the horse industry, and I always recommend it because you always learn so much during this competition. But your 4 phases are judging, a test, identification, and then a team problem. So with our judging competition, you only have to do 2 classes, which are a halter and then a riding class, and you'll compete with the horse judging kids. That way we don't have to set up another contest, and you won't have to give reasons. You only have to place the classes, and that's where your score comes from. And then you'll do a test. Depending on the division, you'll do either 25 or 50 questions that are on all sorts of things, talking about breeds, anatomy, diseases, nutrition. And then you'll also do an identification stage where you might have to write down like the parts of a saddle or parts of the horse. And then you'll also have a team problem that you work together with your team, and it may be where you're planning a horse show or your horse is injured, and so what do you have to do? And so you want to make sure that your whole team participates and that you come up with a solution, and that each team member presents that part of the solution, because that's where your score comes from, is if everyone participated and then how well your answer was, if you kind of hit all your points and made sure that you gave correct information. And then you have an overall team score, and then you can also get some individual awards for some of your different phases as well too.
Excellent. And what can they do? Like, where can they go to really get prepared to participate in hopology and do well?
So I would definitely recommend going to your local horse club meetings. Most of these horse clubs each month talk about a different topic each month, whether it's nutrition, have a vet or farrier come in. So you'll definitely learn a lot from your horse club meetings. But also I would even just Google hopology old quizzes and tests, and there's all kinds of things out there that you can practice doing slides and looking at old tests. The regional horse show website also has their old tests. They're a little bit harder, but it does kind of help you gauge some of the information that's going to be on there as well. But there's also 4-H horse materials. There's several handbooks that go over deworming, nutrition, diseases that are really good to study as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Katie, for joining me and all your lovely friends who got in on the action this morning. And thank you for joining us. And if they have any questions on how to get the materials and how to get the rules and stuff, they can go to our aces.edu website, click on 4-H, and then click on horse programs, and it takes them to our rules book, and it will soon get them to the new registration book as well. So thank you so much again, Katie, for joining us.
Thank y'all for having me.
And welcome back to being part of the full-time 4-H family as a foundation agent.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see y'all next time.